Afternoon and welcome again to a special edition of Polotiki brought to you by News 24. We are continuing with our live coverage of the 54th National Elective Conference of the ANC, and with me in studio now is the outgoing Treasurer General of the ANC, Dr. Zweli Mkhize. He of course became one of the big stories of this conference. Many of us didn't expect it, but you got up to the podium to withdraw your nomination. Why?
Well, I'd initially accepted the nomination, and I really want to acknowledge all those who nominated me and supported me throughout this, because they, we share a very important message of unifying the African National Congress. But as you know, unity is not just about what we say, it's also about a lot of other things that we can do to build unity. So in the process, whilst we were going through this campaign, we started all sorts of engagements with various leaders, and we're trying to look at what are the things that will help to lessen the tensions, to bring the ANC together. And so when we were engaging yesterday and we're looking around at what can be done to pull the whole team together, I then felt that one of the offers one can make is to step back and reduce the numbers and try and encourage a spirit of people being ready to give and being ready to make a contribution towards a much more united leadership. And so I stepped back after consulting and discussing with various provinces. I didn't want to see this whole issue creating more and more tensions. I wanted to see if we can start bringing in a spirit that we can step back, because it's not about one person. It's not about who wins. It's not about ultimately which faction. It's about what spirit we create that will help for us to continue to unify people and actually approach it more from a win-win approach that says we all are going to play a role, but the ANC is more important than all of us.
Just to remind those that are watching us, you were nominated for Deputy President position from the Eastern Cape. Was it not just about you realizing the numbers? I mean, David Mabuza had higher numbers. Then there was the Lindiwe Sisulu, who was also a nominee, but she was trailing behind you. Was it not you seeing that you are not going to win this one?
Not at all. Actually, the nominations are one thing. Engaging the delegates shift things very differently. And the things would have shifted very differently at the time when we were engaging with huge support from a number of provinces. I don't want to even go into detail, but to say that, when the delegates get to the back of that ballot box, they, exercise their own choice. And I don't think we can predict upfront that this is what it would have actually happened. But one of the things that becomes important is when we can see that there are tensions and we are all far apart, what can we do to pull people together? We must introduce as well a spirit that says we're not here for a fight. We're not here about our own positions. We're not here about, it's me and me. It must be about what is it that we can do to contribute to a collective that is much more able to unite the ANC when it emerges as a leadership and you go forward.
But then the big question is that when you actually cast your ballot, who did you vote for when you got into that ballot box?
Well, unfortunately, when I stood up, I actually didn't endorse any candidate. I actually believe that those comrades, those branches and those delegates who had voted for me didn't need my guidance there. They've either got their branch nominations or they've got their own view of what is best for the ANC. And I left it to them because I respect their judgment and I believe that they will still be able to exercise their minds into the best leadership. Because I was busy until very late with my reports, I've not even been able to get to that point.
You have not gone to vote?
Oh, well, there's still going to be more chance to vote, so there's no problem.
So who are you going to vote for when you actually do vote?
No.
It is a race. There's two presidential candidates. It's either Nkosazana Dlamini Zuma or the Deputy President Cyril Ramaphosa.
No, that is past now. I'm dealing with the whole body of the NEC. But I will accept whoever gets elected. My point of view is that whoever gets to emerge is the one that we must work with. Doesn't matter what the issues are. Doesn't matter what view you have. Doesn't matter who you would have wished for. At the end of the day, only one person is going to emerge. And when that person emerges, we must support them.
So you're not going to tell us who you're going to vote for?
No, that's past because I won't be voting for them now.
You've lost your opportunity to vote?
I lost that opportunity because I was busy with this report. Once, when we get to the next one, I'll have the opportunity to vote. But it doesn't matter. At the end of the day, it doesn't matter whether I would have voted for them or not. What is important is that when we get to the meeting, when we get to the outcome, we will accept the outcome and whoever emerges is the right person.
Dr. Mkhize, though, I mean, you started it off as a unity project, your presidential campaign.
It continues to be so.
You did not get the presidential nomination, but how do you see you pulling out, bringing forward that unity campaign? If you could just clarify it for us there.
Look, the issue of unity is more about the approach, and it's about the role you play in, engaging people so that you can say a particular approach. And that message, when we started with the unity approach, we were the ones who were dealing with that message. But you must see now, all the candidates started bringing that message. You must see even the songs that we started with, you'll see everybody, the comrades and the sign of unity, which is good because basically...
But it was unity, and then there was a candidate's name. It started off with the unity song, now the unity song is also being sang, but in particular for Ramaphosa.
Yeah, that's good, because now everybody is talking unity. When we raised the issue, it was about saying we need everyone to come closer together. And this message continues. Out of this conference, you're going to need everybody to participate in building more, consensus, more, cooperation amongst all of us. And we cannot allow that out of this conference, people must pull apart on the basis of the campaign. And that's the role we have to continue playing. That leadership must play that role. All of us who are going to be part of it and those of us who are not part of it, that's the role we must play. And we must say to everyone that unity is not optional. It's for everybody and it's for every day. And we have to take this issue beyond that, because conference is just one event. If you look at some of the conferences that we have had, events such as this are where the beginning of things happen. From now on, it depends how we deal with the aftermath of the conference and how do we move forward to build more confidence around the African National Congress, a role that each and every one of us must play. And therefore, we cannot say, if you're not in the leadership, you can't play that role. If you're not the president, you can't play that role. All of us must commit to this process of building this unity and moving forward.
I have to ask you this question because speculation is out there. We've been getting messages. They are saying that you've struck a deal with Deputy President Cyril Ramaphosa. If he wins, we would see you as Deputy Minister, and then 2019, we would see you as the Finance Minister. Did you have that conversation with him?
Where did you get the story from?
That is what we are getting. That is what we are getting.
No, I've not. Listen, I didn't do a deal. I will not do a deal. I will not even endorse a slate. The approach we had taken was look at the leaders and exercise your mind on the basis of who you see the best. I would have stood there and made an announcement if that was the... It's not necessary to endorse. Those delegates are capable of raising this thing. There's no deal, but who's going to offer me a president when they're not the president of the government? If you're going to offer me a minister.
We're throwing forward to 2019.
No. Look, I think people come with fake news, and you must also know, when we're going out there campaigning, we throw all sorts of stories. I read in the tweets, somebody say, oh yeah, Zweli Mkhize has now endorsed NDZ, Zweli Mkhize has now endorsed CR17, Zweli Mkhize is doing this, Zweli Mkhize. They use this basically either to spice the news or to just create a vibe amongst the delegates.
I know you're going to leave us, but I've got two questions I have to ask you. The first one, Dr. Mkhize, is that, we saw the emergence of slate nominations, just looking at the nominations. Are you hopeful that we might get a mix from the two slates that have emerged?
I'm not sure that the way we've gone about it will actually avoid the slates. And for me, it's very sad, because we had taken an approach earlier that said we will actually dilute the slates by breaking down the nomination. I was for that. I supported that because I was part of Polokwane, and many of us were, and I believe that at some point we need to call this thing to a stop. And therefore, I believe that that approach would have actually helped to dilute, because it would have really made people to reconsider and even start thinking about the candidates that were not necessarily nominated by themselves. But I think we don't have an option. We have to rebuild unity as we go forward. The fact that we have gone past this conference must just be the start, and then we must move on to build unity. So the approach that we took, I think we must still revise and go back to what we had originally proposed.
I guess you would also support those that are saying delegates should not go in with NEC lists when they actually go and vote for that NEC.
No, it's very tricky that, because you see, to be honest, if you're going to have a slate on a list because you are forced to go and follow these particular names, it's not right. But if you want a list simply because there are people whose name you don't want to forget, 80 people is a lot of people. If you were to say to me, I must rattle all the names of the members of the NEC who I serve with now, I might forget some and then remember them later. So I think it is fair to be balanced on this matter. What we are saying is that don't drum the slates and actually force people to vote for someone they don't like, but give them the options to exercise their best selection. That way it's better if people keep the list for that purposes, it's okay. But the same thing can be turned around the wrong way and the right way.
Last question, you are the outgoing Treasurer General.
That's the last one.
Are you leaving the ANC with any money? We are seeing headlines that say the ANC is broke again.
Oh, I didn't see the headlines and I don't know who wrote the story. But listen, the ANC is in a good position. Everybody else there has got their finances in the situation. All I can tell you now is that this ANC, the new Treasurer General, I'm going to work with them, I'm going to support them, I'm going to help them through whatever challenges. There are lots of things, that changes that are needed in the organization. And when I gave the report, I was indicating the culture that needs to be built of how the ANC must be able to deal with containing costs and so on. Now, I come from a background where I've been MEC for finance, I've been treasurer before. I can tell you that every time you sit, the main thing you need to do, cut down the cost, increase your revenue. That's the rule that goes. And we must always put that up there. And sometimes we send horror stories to say, listen, you're going to be in trouble, don't do this, don't do that, because you're trying to contain people so from dreaming wild and getting huge expenditure going. I will go and work with the new Treasurer General and we'll take it forward. The ANC is all right. I have said before, it's not, the ANC is not broke, the ANC is not rich, the ANC just survives out of the goodwill of its members. They make contributions, they give us support. And I want to say, as the outgoing Treasurer General, I really wish to express my gratitude to all the corporate, private sector donors who have contributed to the African National Congress. I really thank them from the bottom of my heart for the contribution that they've made. I thank the ANC members, those who go out and make contributions monthly to the African National Congress. It's a huge boost for a Treasurer General to know that there are people who are loyal to the organization. So I've said that even in my report, Agwande, Lafobetate Corner, we're really ever so grateful, and may they continue to extend the same level of support to the new Treasurer General and the African National Congress. The African National Congress survives because of the people who give life and skills and resources to make it grow, and may that culture continue.
Thank you very much. That was the outgoing Treasurer General of the ANC, Dr. Zweli Mkhize. Always a pleasure speaking to you. I tend to enjoy the conversations that we have together. The big one to take away from this, he's saying there was no deal made, and he's not going to tell us who he is endorsing, saying that he didn't get the opportunity to actually vote because he was presenting the Treasurer General report. That's it for now from our special edition of Politiki. My name is Mkhize.